Welcome to Ode to Games. My name's Logan Plant, joined today by who else but Kevin Valine. Hi, Kev.
How you doing, Logan?
I'm good. I miss you, Kevin. It's been years.
What?
It's been so many years.
What a way to bring it in.
It's
Thanks.
true.
Appreciate it.
And Zach Ross. Hi, Zach. It's been days.
How are you guys holding up? I don't
How many
understand.
days has it been?
Several,
Few.
apparently.
Good for you. Not too many. Yeah, since we beat No More Heroes 3, right?
Great time.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. Haven't seen Kevin, since we, beat Unravel 2? Which was,
we beat
ago.
Team Sonic
Oh,
Team
Racing.
Sonic Racing.
Oh, yeah, Team Sonic Racing.
I was there for
And-
that.
And Builders too.
And Kirby Return to Dreamland.
Yes.
A while ago, too. Yeah.
There's some games
Anyways,
on there.
we're not talking about any of those games today.
Screw
We're going
those.
to talk about Animal Crossing and New Horizons, which got a ton of news in the Animal Crossing Direct last week. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch Online expansion and its pricing that many find questionable, and a whole lot more. So let's get right into it. With Animal Crossing Direct, this was there were kind of three parts to this Direct: the free update for Animal Crossing, the DLC for Animal Crossing, and then the news about the the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack pricing. Where do we want to start? I could start
Start with
any
the
of
free
these.
stuff. Start with the free
Start-
stuff.
Yeah, start with the thing that kicked it off, I guess. The
Yep.
the free
So
update.
just a quick rundown of the free stuff. A lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Almost everything people asked for, except crafting multiple things
One
at once.
thing.
How did that
I
not get
wanted.
in?
I
That
don't
has
understand
been
how that's not
the
here
biggest request since day one.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God.
for over a year and a half. That's
The
what
other,
people
the
have
other
wanted.
issue, they said that this is the last free update, so you're probably not ever
Not
getting
coming.
it, or you're getting it in
Yeah.
the paid content, which would be ridiculous.
Yeah. So and that the DLC is also the only planned DLC. So this is it in terms of new content for New Horizons. But anyways, the free stuff, Brewster is back, the Roost is back, it's in the museum. We already knew that. You can scan amiibo cards at a jukebox to bring people to the Roost to enjoy coffee with. Cool stuff. Cap'n is back. He takes you to different islands. It's not one island like it's been in previous games. It's randomly generated Nook islands with special materials. So kind of similar to just flying to islands, but
And that
different stuff.
was, they also had different seasons for those islands too, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It can be
Mhm.
winter
So-
on the island, but summer in real time. So
Which I swear, I didn't fact check this, but I swear that in a previous Animal Crossing Direct, they were like, you might fly to a Nook Island that's a different season than never happened. It just
Until
doesn't
now,
happen. I'm like,
I guess
was that in
It's
there
just
or
part of
not?
this now, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But yeah, Cap'n is back. The best one, Gyroids? Gyroids? However you say it.
Gyroids.
I used to say gyroids when I was
you
a
call
kid.
them. You call everything wrong as a kid, like Godot.
That's true.
I mean,
That's also a G. You just
I feel
don't
like
know
a
what
lot of kids
G
do
is.
that.
Abs-
When
oh,
you
I
still
did.
learn how to
Especially
read.
when you play every generation
Yep.
of Pokemon. Like half of them, you say it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's how you say it for the rest of your life.
Rayquaza? Any Rayquaza folks
Oh
here?
boy. No.
Ray-
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza. No, yep,
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza. Sorry.
Uh-huh. I always said Rayquaza. I just misread it. Anyways, gyroids are back. I've famously said many times on this show, I had a basement full of them in the first game. Like you couldn't
Now
even
they're way
walk.
better.
You couldn't even enter the basement.
Well,
'Cause it
they
was
took
full.
up a lot of space too.
Yeah, they
Which
are
they
very
remedy
large
here.
in previous games. Yeah,
Yeah, they're tiny now, and they're
they can go on
adorable.
tables. Yeah,
And I'm most excited about this edition because I did love collecting them, and I got bored of just digging up fossils. It's nice that there's other stuff to dig up now. And I have some rooms in my house that have nothing in them. I just never had plans for them, and then I stopped playing. So I'm bringing back the gyroid room. It's coming back, and I'm gonna fill it up.
And what with the
Yeah.
gyroids, they come broken. You have to like plant them and grow them.
yeah, and then grow them.
Which is interesting.
Yeah,
That was not in the
yeah.
original.
I really like their redesign. They're super cute.
Yeah, so you can just
Yeah,
like
they look
toss
good.
them on
They're
like
incredible.
tables and things like that instead of just having just a room full of them and that's it. They can be more
Yeah.
like accent pieces.
Harv's Island, which I think we all went to once to be like, what's Harv's Island, and never went back
I
to.
did go.
Uh,
I did go one time.
It's getting a major expansion. It's having a marketplace there that you can build with your own money that brings back in a ton of merchants like the
I just want to
Cyrus.
say
Remember
that
their
I
names.
predicted this last show. I said they're bringing back the city from City Folk with the downtown
that-
area.
okay.
It's even
I
laid
mean,
out in the
close.
same exact way. It's
Yeah.
like a U shape, with a bunch of the same shops. It's pretty much the exact same
So
thing.
it looks like a lot of the shops are ones that could appear on your island, but this
Yeah.
is so that you can have them at any time, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
because it was the rotating merchants. Like,
Right.
the guy would come and sell plants, but now he can just set up his cart there permanently,
Ick.
which is a
Which
nice
will be nice.
change.
Yeah, you can access them at any time.
Red, the painting guy, was there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
X. Is that his name?
It's a nice addition.
Shoe
More
guy.
things to
Yeah.
dump your money into.
Yeah. Yep, so that's good. Then we got farming and cooking are in, and Mr. Stardew Addict, Kevin, did this do anything for you? Because to me, it's like, what do you do with the food and crops?
That's the problem. Because all they showed off was that you could display them and eat them, that would have the same effect as eating like an apple. It would just like increase the 1 power so you could like break rocks. So
and destroy your town.
and yeah.
On the rocks.
So I mean, like, if there's nothing else for you to do with the cooking, it's probably not going to do too much for me. Aesthetically, it looks nice. Like building farmland area, I can see people going wild with that and creating like an entire farm island. That's cool. It looks cool. But I'm hoping that at the very least, they sell for a decent amount of money. So there's reason to harvest these and turn them into dishes and get something for them beyond just like a decoration item or food that's just like an
Yes.
apple. But
maybe
they did not show
maybe
that off
other
yet.
villagers like them. Who knows?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have to wait and see if they actually have a purpose beyond that. But interesting addition. People wanted that.
Yeah. And then a lot of other smaller things, like you can stretch with all your villagers in the plaza.
Do
which
Radio Tyso.
was like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how many times people are really going to do that. There's bigger home storage, new town ordinances, which is returning from New Leaf. When as the mayor, you could be like, everyone's got to stay up till midnight.
Yeah, don't
That's
go
the
to
only
bed.
time I can play.
I'm locking your doors until
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, and then there's more KK Slider songs, permanent ladders that you can place around to make it easier to get around, so you don't have to bust out your ladder every time you want to climb stuff. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So yeah, from these additions, Kev, what's your favorite one of what they're adding, and what's something that's not here maybe that you wish was in?
Well, like we talked about earlier, crafting multiple
It is
items is probably the
100%
most
crafting.
egregious thing that is not in there. But for stuff that we don't know yet, again, I'm just wondering about the cooking and if it'll have more of a purpose beyond decoration. But my favorite thing would probably be the return of the gyroids. I liked them a lot back on the original Animal Crossing on GameCube. But I also like Harv's Island. I always like building stuff, putting my bells into something and creating stuff like a marketplace and things. And it'll be nice to not have to wait for certain merchants to come into town if you need something, if you need plants, if you're buying up all the paintings and don't want to wait for Red and he's there. I feel like it serves a lot of purpose and gives more of a purpose to Harv's Island, because if you're not into like snapping photos, there's literally no purpose to going to his island. So it's nice that he has more features there. So yeah, my favorite thing's probably the gyroids and the no multiple crafting sucks, and still waiting on more information about the cooking. Probably we'll see when it comes out.
Yeah, Zach, how about you?
Yeah, well, I was expecting it to be Brewster. Back in the previous games, I was a huge fan of the Roost. I would go there and hang out all the time, but I really think the new gyroid design is really cool. So I agree with Kevin that I think the gyroids kind of stole the show for me. I like that a lot, and I think they had a pretty cool touch to any room you put them in. So, and then yeah, the crafting. It's the one thing I wanted, and we just didn't get it.
Yeah, I can't believe that's not in there. I think the other thing that there's a couple other things that we mentioned, like a better photo mode.
Oh
but
yeah, better
I don't
photo
use
mode.
photo
There
mode
was
in like any game ever,
increasing the maximum amount of bridges and stairs that you can do. Small addition,
which
but
is nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
which is a
I
good
like that.
addition.
Few new items in Nook's shop.
Always nice to have.
That is
Yeah.
that's my biggest disappointment, is that the Nook shop can't be expanded or remodeled. Because I just remember in the GameCube one, there were like 5 different versions of that store, and it finished as like a huge department store with 2 floors, and Tom Nook ran the bottom, and Timmy and Tommy ran the top floor, and it was just really disappointing that it was called Nookingtons, which is a cool name, and it's just really annoying that what's called Nook's Cranny only had 1 upgrade in New Horizons. And
Yeah,
now
that
that's
was
just what
pretty
it looks
lame.
like forever. Yeah.
There's a disappointment for me that kind of ties into the DLC, but I'll get into that in a second when we talk about that.
Okay, yeah, let's get, and then the only other thing I was disappointed by is I felt like in New Horizons the villagers said the same three things depending on their personality, and it would have been nice if like more dialogue was added, but they didn't say anything about that. That would have been nice. Oh, there's
Yeah.
also new emotes, which I don't give a rat about.
Yeah.
Like whoever did that.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
basically just there for when you're like with all your friends and you want to take screenshots with people doing certain things. Like, there's not too many other
yeah,
reasons for them.
yeah. So let's get into the DLC, Happy Home Paradise. It's a sequel to Happy Home Designer, which was a 3DS game. I feel like very few people played that. Now this is a sequel to that, but as DLC for New Horizons. It's $25. All of this plus the free stuff is coming on November 5th, and this adds a new archipelago location with
Oh,
48
archipelago?
plots. What's it called?
Archipelago.
Archipelago?
Oh, well, it was an accident. Sue
yeah.
me.
Nice.
Rayquaza?
Bring it
Ah,
back.
perfect.
Yeah. The archipelago with 48 plots. So it looks like you can design 48 homes. You can design facilities. There's schools, cafes, restaurants. I thought that was funny in the trailer because they're like, it's a vacation resort. Build a school. Who's going to school here? Who's going to school on this island?
They gotta bring their kids.
But that's there. It adds a ton of new stuff you can do to the homes, like columns and partitions. The two different residents can want to be roommates. So you'll have to like design different wings of the house for them, which looked really cool. And after you finish or after you progress far enough in this DLC, you'll eventually be able to completely redesign the homes of your villagers on your island. So like those we complained that the two villagers that moved in at the start have the really basic looking homes. You can go and just completely tear those down. And I think that that's a really cool feature. But $25 for what is probably a ton of new content. I mean, designing 48 homes to specific specifications and then also putting your own spin on them, that's a lot of stuff. And then it carries over to your own island too. I think it's more than worth the price of admission. But Kev, you said you had a disappointment with it.
So this is more in its relation to the free update. I really like the idea of building like these schools, cafes, and restaurants. I thought that was a really cool idea. And I'm just sad they didn't bring that to the main islands. Like, I feel like people could go crazy, like designing actual, like full on towns on their islands, you know, with all the people's houses. And then you have the school here. Here's the town cafe or whatever. I felt like that would have been super cool to not have it tied specifically to the DLC and have that be a feature as part of the main game. But it seems to be only part of the DLC.
Yeah, I thought that too, because like, don't you think after you build out this gorgeous resort, your own island is going to feel boring? Like, there's just nothing new there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that too. But I did not expect this big of an expansion. Like, that's huge.
It's a lot of content.
Like, yeah, I didn't know there was going to be any paid portion of it. So it surprised me. Zach, what's your take on the Happy Home Paradise?
I thought it looked super cool. It's definitely a great addition. I like interior design in these games, but it's never been the huge draw for me. So I don't know if this is really a DLC for me, but I think a lot of people are really going to love it.
Kev, you think you're going to buy it?
I think it probably depends on if Animal Crossing hooks me back in with the free update. I'm not going to go back in there and immediately buy the DLC. But if the update keeps me there for a little while, then maybe I do pick it up. But there's a lot of cool stuff here. Like the new ways that you can design homes with things like partitions is huge. Like you can really redesign a bunch of different rooms like that. That opens up the door for a lot of creative possibilities. And then, building people's homes, building their cafes, building the schools, having all the new characters that are a part of this archipelago. Like, there's a fair amount of content here.
Yeah, and I like that you can at least bring the design aspect back to your own villagers and give them dream homes also on the island and do it to your own house too. And have these partitions and columns. I think that is really great because, I mean, you just look at the difference that just dividing a large room into smaller separate areas makes. People are going to do crazy stuff designing their homes with this. And there is new furniture too. Froggy chair, which was the big meme
Froggy
a
chair.
couple of years ago, is back. And yeah, so a bunch of new furniture sets, new color options for some of the things too.
There was
So,
also
there's a
new
lot
home
here.
exteriors, right?
Yes.
I can't remember if that was part of the free or the paid.
I think it's
Is it
free.
free?
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's
Yeah.
free. You can just go do that with Nook and
Yeah.
change what your house looks like.
Which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Customization
New fence
options.
types.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the DLC because I share Animal Crossing with my girlfriend and she wants to play it, but I don't know if I'm going to. So, but someone in my household will be playing the DLC, but I'm just not. I think I'm done with it. Like, this was a super cool update, super cool stuff in this DLC, but I think my time with that game's kind of done.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
in a similar boat.
It just feels a little too late. Like, if this was last October, like I feel like we talked about, I feel like we all would have been pulled back in because it was recent enough that we played. But now it's like, man, I got so much other stuff I want to play that I don't know if Animal Crossing fits into that anymore. Oh.
And just the fact that this is the last real content updates just brings into question how they supported this game. It's just really weird. Like, the game came out, it blew up, and then besides a couple of small updates here and there with, like the going out into the ocean and swimming and getting that all the mussels and things, and then the Mario Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
Was that really it? Is that it?
Yeah, well, aside from seasonal stuff.
Right, just holidays, which
Yeah.
would have been in the base game anyways if they didn't do it as
I think that was
part
it,
of,
though.
like, updates.
Yeah.
For a game that sold as much as Animal Crossing did, it's kind of baffling that they didn't have more content to keep people coming back for an extended period of time, and that once they do try and bring people back with this big update, they say that that's it. It's a very interesting way to go about it.
Well, this game shipped right when the pandemic started, and we know how much that messed with Nintendo. So maybe this DLC was supposed to come out in like March. Maybe it was supposed to be like a year later, and it just is hitting way later because of development shifts out of their control. But yeah, I mean,
even still, the fact that this is like the one update, like, again,
I was just gonna say,
yeah,
the same could be said for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which got 0 content updates. I mean, I know it's a port of a game that already got DLC, but that game sold 35 million copies and has gotten nothing for anyone to spend $1 on. Like, it's crazy. I don't get why they're abandoning these games that are so successful. Smash Brothers is the only one where they have just continued to support it for years and years. And yeah, 3 years of support for that game, and it's like, one paid update for Animal Crossing, nothing for Mario Kart. I guess Sword and Shield had it. Like, Odyssey sold like 20 million and never had any DLC.
Just
it's
had
like,
Luigi's
I
Balloon World.
Yeah. Like, Breath of the Wild and Splatoon had it. But yeah, they abandon these things quick, which is just more of their style than these live service games that go on forever that make more money. They just want to get on to making the next game, which I can appreciate because it makes the wait shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you just look at Smash, where it just dominates the news headlines. Like, every time they have a new update for that for 3 years. And I'm sure that it brought more people into the game that didn't buy it on launch or around launch.
Sora is out now, and Smash Ultimate has risen to number 3 on the Switch eShop. Like,
right, yeah, every time
people are buying just for him.
Yeah, and maybe when this big update comes out in the DLC, maybe even more people will hop into Animal Crossing. But there's going to be nothing after this. So this will be the shot that they have to have one more kind of shot in the arm for it before it's done.
Yeah, and it's just, you think of the money that you can make from a $20 DLC like this, where you don't have to develop a whole new game. Like, Animal Crossing sold 30 million. If even like 5% of those people buy this, that's millions of dollars. Like, that's so much money. Yeah, I don't get it. But it's here, and people are very happy with the update. Like, I saw a lot of positive reception to this thing. I think they did a great job fleshing this out more. Because, like we said, after you finished it, I felt like you ran out of stuff to do. But this looks like it adds a lot to go back and do, which is nice. Something people aren't as high on, though, is the new pricing for Nintendo Switch Online. So this is the expansion pack. And we also learned that Happy Home Paradise is part of this expansion pack. So you're getting the N64 games, the Sega Genesis games, and access to this DLC for Animal Crossing. Not to Animal Crossing, so if you don't have Animal Crossing, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
And it will, instead of 20 a year, it will cost 50 a year. And the family plan goes from 35 to 80. So it's a pretty big price hike. Yeah, more than double on both ends. $50 a year for any online play, NES, SNES, 64, Genesis, and Animal Crossing games. Kevin, your take?
I'm not buying it. Like, I've talked about this before, where I don't play any of the NES games, and I've rarely played the SNES games. The N64 library at this point, from what they showed off at launch, is way too small for me to drop a bunch of money on. I don't care about Genesis games, and if I did, Sega has already given me so many different ways to play that, where all I have to do is buy a game once, and I've got the entire collection of Genesis games. So I have very little interest in the Genesis titles. And then for the DLC, if I wanted to play it, I'd be more inclined to just spend the $25 and have it forever, rather than get it as part of this. And it just seems
if you stop subscribing, you lose access to the
You do. Now, to be fair, the items that you bring over, like the partitions and stuff, can still be used, which is nice. But with a DLC like this, I'd just rather, buy it or own it.
And buying the DLC is cheaper than paying for 1 year than the increase of paying for 1 year of the expansion.
Right,
pack.
yeah.
Because the DLC is $25 and the increase in price is $30. So if you only want the DLC, there's literally no reason to go for the expansion pack.
Yeah, and I think I was sitting here before they'd announced this and was thinking it'd be like a $10 or $15 price increase. More than double is crazy to me. Like that, way too much. I have no interest in this. I don't. The games that I would even be interested in playing on N64 aren't even on it yet. Like what, F-Zero's not on there, Paper Mario's not on there, Banjo's not on there.
Yeah.
Like that would be the only time where I would even consider it, and I probably wouldn't get it then either. Like it. It's
and
just,
that's what's interesting about this service is that it's going to get better with time because they're going to add more N64 games. It's not like Game Pass or Netflix or something like that where shows come and games come and they go. It's like, what's leaving Game Pass this month? It's never, no game ever leaves Switch Online. Like shows leave Netflix or games leave Game Pass, or PS Plus games are for 1 month only. So if you're craving N64 games, you can just wait a year, and there will probably be 10 more that you were paying for last year but didn't have yet. And so that's another thing that's weird about this price increase. I don't think it's as outrageous and rage-inducing as a lot of people did online. I mean, I guess that's usually how I feel about things, though. Like people were freaking out over this, and it's like $4 a month over the year for this. That's almost nothing compared to like Game Pass or Netflix or any of these other things. $4 a month is very little, but it's not worth it. So just don't buy it. I'm not going to. I don't need this service. I'll just buy the DLC. I want to upgrade. I think it's a poor pricing plan on their part, Zach.
Yeah, I was semi-interested in trying out a couple of the N64 games, not having played a lot of them in the past and not having the opportunity to. I didn't expect the price to be hiked up quite this much.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to do it, especially in the first year, depending on how much support this gets over the year and how many games do get added. I will probably reassess next year, and if there is an even greater pile of games that I think I would play, I might just do it for a year. Because like you said, comparatively to other online services for gaming systems, it's really not that bad because PS Plus is $60 a year. Xbox Live is like $15 a month. It's like crazy.
Game Pass, yeah.
I mean, at that point, you just get Game Pass Ultimate
Gold.
Or whatever that comes with.
Yeah.
I'm new to it. I forget what it's called.
It's a little confusing.
It is a little confusing.
They have different branding. But
grand scheme,
I would.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's worth it. But Nintendo Switch Online was so cheap to begin with.
That was the thing, and you could overlook the online service itself being kind of crap because you're like, well, I'm paying $20 a year. Who cares? But when you're paying $50 a year, man, you kind of hope that the internet connection and the online service is a little better. But I mean, who knows? Maybe when it launches, maybe it is better. But I highly doubt that. This expansion pack most likely is just the extra games and the DLC.
Yeah, it's a shame. I miss the old Virtual Console where you could buy these things individually for $5.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about with this too. Is I look at this and the NES and Genesis, I do not care about. I would not play any games from those really. Yeah. And SNES and N64, I have some interest in. Wouldn't it be nice if you could pick and choose and be like, hey, you have different plans based on what consoles you want to play. But they're not going to do that because it's easier to just get the $50 from everybody.
And I just think the two to pick are so obvious.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well, and
SNES
they
and
know
64,
that. They know
and
it.
it's not even close.
They know that.
Yeah.
And that's why, they do this. And people pay for it just to get the N64 games. But
yeah,
the way it's packaged, I have no interest in paying $50 a month for a service that I will barely use.
A year.
Yeah, $50 a year, sorry.
$50 a month is outrageous.
$50 a year, sorry. Yeah. $50 a year.
It's like by what we use are honestly like pretty cheap online. It's like you could buy a Wii U and download all the N64 games you want, and like in 3 years you would have made up the cost. Like it's just not worth 30 extra a year. Yeah, I was gonna pay for it if it was $29.99 a year or $34.99 a year. But like if you could just take out this Animal Crossing thing and lower the price. Yeah. Like I'll buy that outright. It's such a weird addition. DLC to a game that not everyone has. Like that's such a weird ad.
You might add more DLC to this expansion in the future if it comes to life. But
yeah, that would have been cool
Yeah.
if it was like, hey, $50 a year and they just add all the DLC on there. Like Nintendo first party DLC lives on Switch Online. If it was like the Fighters Pass one, the Sword and Shield DLC, and this Animal Crossing DLC, and whatever else DLC there's gonna be. Like the Three Houses has DLC. If they just threw all that on there for $50 a year, that's a great deal.
Can you imagine how much they charge for that if they actually did that?
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think that would be cool. But they just randomly throwing on the Animal Crossing DLC
with no indication of if any of the previous DLCs will come to it or if any future DLCs
Like if the
will.
Octo expansion was on there, which came out like 2 years ago, and it was just like, hey, if you have Splatoon 2 but didn't buy the Octo expansion, it's here. That would just be really nice. Like a mini Game Pass only for first-party DLC. That would be so cool. But this is just weird. It's just, But Nintendo's weird. And sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's just weird and doesn't make sense.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not buying this.
Yeah, we're no way. And I barely play Switch Online games. Like the NES and SNES. I play Switch Online a lot. I play a lot of Mario Kart Online. Zach and I have been playing a lot of Smash Online. Splatoon's online. Splatoon 3 is coming. But I don't need the retro games there. Nintendo has totally bungled the Virtual Console experience on Switch. And it's the one thing the Wii U did right that they did not.
The only reason
forward.
to really have a Wii U at this point, because almost everything's been ported over. It's specifically that Virtual Console.
Yeah, I just look at the Wii U eShop and I'm like, man, Metroid Fusion, Zero Mission.
Oh God, yeah, like
N64
GBA games and stuff.
Yeah, it has everything but GameCube and like 3DS. It has DS games. Like, what are we doing? Like, everything's on that system. But
Yeah,
the Switch.
where is that?
Yeah. We're almost 5 years into the Switch's life cycle, and it's getting its third Virtual Console system. It got the freaking Genesis before it got like Game Boy games.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Why Genesis?
It's bizarre.
It's so confusing.
Yeah. Anything else to add on that before I move on?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
That's all I got on that.
I hate it. Don't love it. Like it. Dislike it.
And the family plan is $80 a year. So if you get 8 people on that, it's less than $1 a month.
It just requires you to get 8 people, and not everybody has the ability to get all the people together.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they have the option. But I'm fine with just having my family plan now and paying nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I pay the $20 a year, and it's fine. Yeah. Whatever. It's like so inconsequential when it's like, oh, $20. Okay, whatever. I play enough Mario Kart to make that worth it. But 50, I'd be like,
you really gotta get your use out of the online service.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into some other news stories. We've got an Elden Ring delay.
Oh yeah.
It was delayed just a month, and it's coming out February 25th. Same day as Saints Row, Kevin.
Oh no!
Woo! Don't care about Elden Ring. Saints Row all the way. Got new gameplay today
I
that I haven't seen yet.
I wonder what the audience crossover is.
Between
those two
Saints
games.
Row and Elden
Few
Ring.
people.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's got to
it's
be at
not
least
entirely small.
several people.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton there. It was just
It'd be a
delayed a month.
packed month. Just another one to add to the fire in there of February.
Yeah, it is extremely packed. But yeah, delayed. Zach, do you have any interest in this game?
Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Fan base for this game is pretty intense. I've never been a part of it, and I've never really wanted to be a part of it.
They're very
But
intense.
I'm happy for them.
Happy for them
Yeah.
that,
Maybe I'll play
that it got delayed?
Happy for
Maybe I'll
that
play
1
it.
month delay.
I'm not happy for them now, but I was happy for them.
Yeah, happy they have to wait long.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to make sure we mentioned that in there. God of War is also coming to PC next year.
Oh, yeah.
Which was recently announced. Yep.
Gonna win Game of the Year again.
Continuing the trend. Continuing that trend of PS4 exclusives going the way of PC. So, yep. Not much is happening right now. Quiet stuff. Xbox is doing a 20th anniversary stream on November 15th, but they won't announce any new games.
Now,
Also,
I saw
this week
people...
they had that really weird Fable thing.
Yeah, I saw people saying,
That was
like,
super
so we
weird.
can't see Fable. Fable was technically announced? I don't know exactly how they meant it with new games, as in, like, new unannounced games or not.
Yeah.
Like,
Huh.
yeah.
I just want Fable.
Fable
weird.
is announced.
It was, right. So people
Yeah.
were saying, like, oh, looks like we won't see any Fable at the event. And that could be true. There's a good chance that we don't see any Fable. But because they said no new games, I took that as new unannounced titles. Like, games that we don't know about yet. But, yeah, I don't know.
Knows.
I'll pull up the actual announcement and see if we can glean anything from that. But, yeah. It was at the very bottom.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah,
don't know.
so
I don't think we're going to see it anyways.
While we won't announce any new games, this anniversary broadcast will be a special look back at 20 years of Xbox. So it makes it seem like it's all back catalog stuff. But at the same time, we won't announce any new games. Means that anything that's been announced already, I would assume, is technically fair game. That could
But
show
I don't
up.
really know if they're going to make announcements. I don't know if that's what this is about. I feel like
I don't think it
just an
is. But
anniversary.
you could have like a little thing at the very end. Be like, here's a look
Yeah.
back at Xbox. And then at the very
Look
end, you're just like, oh,
forward.
here's something cool to like look forward
Yeah.
to.
The
Again,
Halo Infinite campaign in 2022.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Look forward to it.
Like, I doubt we'll see it,
Yeah.
but, you know.
I'd be happy if we did.
I think that tangent. I'm so ridiculously concerned about the Halo Infinite campaign. Every week we go hearing nothing about it. I'm like, when is that even going to be? It's just concerning. Nothing.
It's oh my god. Yeah, after coming off of all the Halos, I don't know what to expect.
It's a month and a half away, and we have not seen a glimpse of the campaign in a year and a half since it was delayed because people hated how the campaign looked.
They just like
That
really
is
walking
just-
on eggshells here? Do they really just not not have confidence
Oh.
in it?
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know.
they'll show it in the 20th anniversary event
Yeah, maybe.
on November 15th. Yeah. Why not? Then we got some other delays. Cyberpunk and The Witcher current gen versions were delayed. So, not a surprise there.
They
CD Projekt Red
if CD
keeps
Projekt
on
Red
mine.
ever delays a game, I'm like, yeah, you need it. I know that game needs it. You can't bungle it again.
Yep. So Cyberpunk coming Q1 of next year, and Witcher 3 coming Q2. So important production update from CD Projekt Red. They tweeted it, but it wasn't on that famous yellow background.
I guess because Witcher was part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then only other thing here, Minecraft Cliffs and Caves Part 2 update coming by the end of the year, and it's receiving another update, The Wild, in 2022. We briefly played Minecraft before totally dropping off. Zach, have you still been playing at all?
I haven't played recently, but I did play the first half of the Caves and Cliffs update. Loved it a lot. I thought they added a bunch of cool new stuff. The axolotls was my favorite part.
The part 2 adds more of the substantial stuff, right?
Yeah, so the caves weren't really in the first part. It was mostly the cliffs, but now we're getting the cave systems, I think. So it'll be cool a lot, and I think they're lowering it by like 60 blocks, and I think they're raising it by 60 blocks. So there's a lot more vertical space. So looking
Nice.
forward to that. I might try it out.
I'd be down to hop back in with you guys when that
Yeah.
stuff comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed our brief return to the
Great
world
game.
of Minecraft. Yeah, that's one series that Xbox took over that didn't totally go on the crapper.
Weirdly
Yeah.
enough.
And
Good
stayed
time.
multi-platform too.
Yeah. They kind of made it multi-platform after acquiring it,
Yeah.
which is pretty
Continue to
crazy.
push it out to other platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
a lot of new
that's pretty
content.
much it for news.
All right, that's gonna do it for a bit of a lighter news week, mostly Animal Crossing, but that's perfectly fine. We all love Animal Crossing, or at least like it, I suppose.
Liked it when it came out originally. Played
Exactly.
a lot of it back then.
Yeah.
But we're not playing it now. We're playing other stuff right now. Some new stuff, some old stuff. So we'll get right into it. We'll start with Kevin. What have you been up to?
Lost Judgment for just a bit. Nothing really new to report there because I've just been playing Stardew Valley. Finally got to the substantial new content, and it's like they added a whole new game in there. It's really cool, like entirely new areas with new things to plant and an entire, just a bunch of new stuff to explore, and only scratch the surface of it because due to me living not in America and the time zone thing, I can only play with friends from back home for a little bit, so we didn't have a ton of time to play through that. But it got me really, really back into Stardew, so I started up my own farm again on PC. Already played through about spring of year one, so yeah, been playing a lot of that. But I'm planning to get back to Lost Judgment because I am like 2 chapters from the end, so I have a feeling that by next week's show I'll either be at the end or have it finished. But yeah, been pretty chill this week. Not a whole lot on the game front.
Awesome. Well, I personally played Case 3 of Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations.
Getting back to that. Has it been
Yep.
a little while? Yeah.
I did take a bit of a break. I did the first case, which was obviously a shorter introduction case, and then I crawled through Case 2 of the third game, and now I pretty much plowed through Case 3, back in a bit of an Ace Attorney mood. So to hop back into that, Case 3 was bad, not good.
It's terrible.
Which one was that again?
It's the chef one.
Turnabout
The-
Recipe, I believe it's called.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a French
Furio
restaurant.
Tigre.
Furio Tigre.
Yeah, fake
Okay.
Phoenix, right? It's a terrible case.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pervert old man who feeds the birds.
Mr.
Oh,
Kudo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that
was,
case is
was not
really
not
bad.
great.
Anyways, I think the last 2 cases I've got are actually pretty good. So excited for the final stretch. Case 4, I think it's going to be decently short, and then the big finale for the original trilogy, which I am very excited for, to finally wrap up this trilogy and then move on to either Apollo Justice or Great Ace Attorney. I have not decided yet. Still
Ooh.
holding out for an Ace Attorney Trilogy 2 on Switch or something.
I do want
but
that.
That'd be
we
nice.
will see. Yeah. And then, other than that, Logan and I have embarked on a new journey.
Oh no.
Leaving the other journeys behind.
We have
No,
abandoned
no.
every previous journey or every potential journey. And we have started Final Fantasy XIV, a notoriously long
I mean, you basically
Our
just sink your life into that
subscription
with the amount of
multiplayer.
content.
How do we feel about Final Fantasy XIV? We haven't played crazy amount. We basically dived in, set up our accounts. Logan's doing the free trial. I'm actually paying for a subscription right now. It's either $13 a month for 8 characters, or $15 a month for 40 characters.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna have more than 8 characters.
That's a
I'm
lot
not
of
gonna have
characters.
more than one character.
Oh my
I don't-
god. Yo,
I don't
who's
think
got,
I'll be making a lot of characters.
Who's got 39 characters and like, oh god, I only got one left.
If you yeah, you only need that subscription
Yeah.
if you devote your life to Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
Oh.
Man.
So I
Yeah,
bought this. I was just gonna say I bought this game a while ago, so my free trial ran out, so I'm actually having to pay for this subscription, which is fine, especially since we're just trying it out right now. But yeah, we made our characters, which was obviously the most fun part, always the best part of every video game, and then we went our separate ways, kind of.
Yeah, we decided we picked different classes, and those different classes have different starting towns. So Zach and I are on the other side of the world from each other. We're
Oh.
very
A
far
decently
away.
sized world.
Cool.
Yes, and I don't know. I am not very experienced with MMOs. Played Wizard 101
Wow.
back in the day.
I remember the commercials for that on like what,
Dude, that game
Nickelodeon
was
or whatever.
fun. Yeah.
What did you even
that's
do
where
in
I
that
saw
game?
You collected cards that had different like it was a card-based battle system,
Okay.
and you just like built decks that had your little armies, and you ran around and fought other people. It was good. I
Yeah,
remember
memories
really
of those
enjoying
commercials. Wizard 101 or whatever.
That was a perfect impression.
That was pretty good. No, Wizard 101 was cool. I never dropped $1 into it, so I hit a lot of walls where I couldn't really do much. But
Yeah.
it was cool. Anyways, but that's my main MMO experience. So
Does anything carry over from Wizard 101?
Yeah, familiars.
Into Final
you can have tiny
Fantasy
pets.
14.
Yeah. Tiny pets that follow you around.
Seeing people run around that have played way more than you and have all that stuff. That's the same.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like a very single player experience for being an MMO. Like Zach did research, and just from what we've seen so far, it seems like the single player or the main story stuff is.
Is
And I
single
don't
player
want
like
that.
all? Like
I think so.
you can't play it multiplayer?
I don't
don't know.
really know.
Interesting.
We're still in like a tutorial phase.
Yeah.
We're just like figuring stuff out. We're doing combat for the first time.
Yeah.
Fantasy 14 apparently is a very story focused. The main story is very linear. There's a lot of side stuff you can do, but from what I've heard in the past, that this is a very good multiplayer experience. I just don't know what parts
Seems
of
like
it are
there's, like,
multiplayer.
dungeons or
There's gonna-
raids.
yeah, I know there's
or
dungeons.
limited events.
Yeah.
But I just
If-
want the story.
If the
And if the
multiplayer
story's
is
just single player, I might
trapped
be out.
behind, yeah, trapped
I don't
behind
know.
dungeons and stuff like that, and then we have to do our own single player stories on opposite sides of the world for 500 hours. Is that really worth it? I don't know.
I guess you'll
I don't
find
know.
out over the 90-day trial.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but that's
It's just like-
$40 for me.
Zach and I had this conversation. We're just trying to find that next Monster Hunter World experience. Because we both said
So
last night when we were done with Final Fantasy XIV that World is the best game we've ever played.
What was
And
the
then
other one you
nothing
guys were
matches
playing?
Divinity.
Divinity.
We played Divinity.
Not Pillars of Eternity.
We
played
dropped
Divinity
off that
Original
hard.
Sin 2,
Yeah.
which we played a lot of, and we really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's
Just
great.
I don't think we were great at it, but
We
and there
were
was a
not.
lot to do. It gave us a lot of
There was.
freedom, which we're not good with. We need we need linear story.
Get the whole like you're overwhelmed and you're just like, well, instead of figuring out what I need to do, I'm just gonna stop.
No, we stopped because Monster Hunter was coming. We were
Then
like,
we
we need to
stopped
pause
it back
this
up.
because Rise
In
is coming out.
March, which is a long time ago now.
Yes.
And we
Yeah,
have
it was a while
been
ago.
because we were pretty far into Divinity, and it was getting difficult. So if we hop back in now, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve. We're going to have to remember how to play
We
it.
should though, because we liked it.
I loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah.
I thought
And
it was
you don't
an
have
amazing
to
game.
pay $13 a month, right?
Exactly. It's
It's already installed. No
Games-
nonsense.
that game's pretty cheap on the reg. I got that game
Yeah.
for like $18 or something like that. So
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
what I
but-
think of Final Fantasy 14.
we
I don't know yet.
I've
I
started
feel
it.
like we have a month to decide
I
until
wonder,
Zach's subscription renewal comes up.
I wonder what the consensus is of that game in the sense of like when it gets good. Like, is that a thing where it's like, oh, it gets good
Yeah.
around like the 80-hour marker? Because that
To be
game's
fair.
long. Like, and
Well,
they keep on
yeah.
adding new media expansions from what I've heard. Like,
I watched a 50-minute tutorial video about what to expect for playing Final Fantasy XIV, and there's still a lot I don't know. This game is chock full of stuff, and it requires a lot of research going in blind, especially so many years after its release.
Yeah.
All of these expansions and all of these updates, but apparently it's all worth it because the story's great. But will we experience it? Who knows?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Come back next week.
We could talk about this game every week for the next year,
3 years.
2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, until it reaches the territory where we just don't talk about it.
It's just like, play more of that.
Yeah.
Keep trucking along on there.
But I think that's basically been it for me. Just some more Genshin, of course. But other than that, Logan, anything else other than our brief stint into Final Fantasy?
Yes, you're forgetting something you played. You played Sora in Super Smash Bros.
Oh my God!
Ooh,
We talked
Sora.
about him last week, but he
Yeah.
wasn't out yet. Now we've officially tried him out, and I forgot about it. But he's fantastic. I love
He's
him a
cool.
lot. Yeah. He's very, very loyal to how he is in Kingdom Hearts. I don't think loyal was the word I'm looking for, but it got my point across. But yeah, he plays just like in a Kingdom Hearts game. He's very floaty. He's
Very
got
floaty.
a magic switching system, air combos, the counter. It's all in there. Just,
Yeah.
But
It seemed like Zach picked him up instantly because he plays like he does in Kingdom Hearts games, and
I mean,
like,
that's a pretty good indicator that they brought him over pretty well.
which is just crazy. It's like, you know how Kingdom Hearts works, so you can put him in a fighting game. It's just crazy. But yeah, he has a mid-air combo, which is something like no one else has. He can do a 3-hit combo in the air, and it's really cool to like jump off the stage and get people caught in that when they're already off the stage, and then they just can't come back. So that's a pretty cool move. I like the stage. I like how it changes when people are low on health or low on stock. That's a pretty cool feature. And I like his outfits. Yeah, he has outfits based on 1, 2, 3 and dream drop distance, and they're pretty cool.
The old timey Disney one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called? The River of
Timeless River.
Timeless River? Okay.
River
Yeah, I
of
like
Fate is
him.
cool too.
He has the best recovery in the game. You can go miles.
Basically broken.
Because his side B has 3 moves and can chain into an up
3
B.
dashes, yeah.
Yeah, so you can dash.
The up B can chain into a side B, so you have to do up B first and then side
Yeah.
B.
It's crazy. You do like your spinny slash like Link does. Very similar to that. And
He's
then
also
you
got
do
a
side
floaty
B.
double jump, which gives him a lot of height. So you can just fall off, floaty double jump, up B, side B to the right, and then 2 side Bs up, and you can come back from
It's like a mile.
any place on the map.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can basically fly. Sora, and his second jump it's like a 1-second delay from after you hit the button to when it actually triggers. Because it's like a balloon. He's just like does nothing and then whoop, he just floats up. It's crazy. He's so weird, but he's pretty cool. Yeah, we played as him quite a lot, and yeah, now it's over.
It's done.
But he's
out.
cool. Yeah, there was
Smash.
a cool interview with Sakurai where he said that this came about because he ran into a Disney employee at a Game Awards show a couple of years ago, and I've been wondering about this. I think I wondered about it on the show. The reason that Fighters Pass 2 is 6 fighters is because Sora was not approved by Disney when they had to meet the deadline for approving their characters, so they went with 5 other ones. And then during development, they got approval for Sora, so they just tacked him on as a 6th one. And that
Which
is
is
why there
great.
are 6.
Super cool that it wasn't
Yeah.
just like, well, we can't do it. We got the 5. It's like, hey, there's another one.
And I'm pretty sure I'd be willing to bet that Sephiroth would have been the closer had Sora not been there.
Probably
Because his trailer
Based
was
on his
like,
trailer.
yeah, and he had that mode where you had to like fight him as like a final boss to unlock him, and like if he was the last character, and like you actually have to fight him to get him in. Yeah, I could just see him being the last dad. But yeah, I mean it's really cool that they were able to throw it together at the 11th hour and get him in there. Yeah, he's a cool character. And then I also played Life is Strange: True Colors. I finished it, and I liked it. Didn't quite love it. I really liked the main character. I loved the town that it takes place in. I liked the side characters a lot. You make a lot of meaningful choices with them, and their stories can go a ton of different ways. But the overarching plot, we kind of knew what was going to happen the whole time. We predicted it way too early. And then the endings. Life is Strange 2 has like 10 different endings, and like 6 of them are wildly different from each other. And then this one has like 2 types of endings, and it's really inconsequential to any of your decisions the entire game until the end, and it's like, do you want this ending? And it just doesn't matter. So I thought the endings were a little disappointing. I thought the last chapter was really weak, which is usually like the strongest part of the Life is Strange games. But I really liked everything that led up to it. And there's a cool part where you play like a turn-based Dragon Quest Final Fantasy inspired JRPG at a LARP.
That's in every
cool.
game now. They're just throwing in that mini JRPG. Like that was in No More Heroes 3.
Heroes.
It's just in everything.
Yeah. But not much to say on it. It's a Life is Strange game. The empathy power is the coolest power in the series, I think. It has some really cool visual elements. And the story is good. Not sure it's quite worth $60 when the other ones were way cheaper than that.
Oh,
this is like the same length as those.
$60 and then
what was it originally?
12 for the DLC.
It was like $5 an episode.
Okay.
For 5 episodes.
I guess that's right.
So,
they're doing the different release strategy, a normal release strategy for this.
Yeah, because we beat it in like 10 hours, and it's very similar to the other ones. So it just doesn't feel like quite a justified price hike for this. I don't know. It was good. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. That's fine.
All right.
But that's it.
All right. We're going to be doing a little bit of a shorter show this week. I think that's going to wrap it up. Any
I've
final
got
thoughts?
one more thing, Kevin.
Oh, you got one more thing.
It's for you.
Oh, yeah?
And it's calling back to something we talked about years ago.
Years ago. Am I going to remember this?
On this podcast.
Am I going to remember this?
Scoob.
No.
We talked about Scoob and how horrible of a movie
Why
it
are we
was.
bringing Scoob back up? I have not thought about Scoob once since that podcast.
So
I did not watch
Scoob is the latest Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah.
And while my sister came to visit, because we played Life is Strange together.
Okay.
And me and her and my girlfriend wanted to pick a movie to watch.
Oh, no.
And we went on HBO Max, and we found 2 live-action Scooby-Doos that are not
that
two
aren't
live
Scooby-Doo
action
1 and 2 Monsters Unleashed.
No,
What?
it is not those, because I've known those my whole life.
Wait, I may have seen them.
And I like those.
Which one? What is it about?
It is so these were straight. These were straight to Cartoon Network.
Because I may have seen one of these.
And they were live action, I believe, from like 2009. And I don't remember the name of it. I think it was like, oh man, it was something about the origins of the gang. And they're high schoolers. And the mystery is that they're high school, and it's a stamp collector is the main bad.
I think I saw that.
It's good.
I don't remember anything about it though.
It's good.
Yeah?
It's so much better than Scoob. It's crazy.
The mystery begins.
It like is the mystery begins. Yep.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it's a good movie. The only thing that's really bizarre is that Fred's hair is brown, and it's like why everyone else looks exactly like they should, but then Fred just looks really weird.
How is Scoob as bad as it was?
Did you see the second one, The Curse of the Lake Monster?
No, I don't think so. I think we only saw the first one.
Okay, because I'm gonna watch that because the first one was good. So I'll come back and report on that movie because the first one we thought was going to be terrible because it was like a TV movie, Cartoon Network.
Yeah, this could be bad.
But it feels like the original show. Like good references, the characters feel right. Scoob was just terrible.
Did you watch any of the straight to DVD movies from like the late 90s, early 2000s?
Oh yeah,
like Cyber Chase and
Cyber Chase
Invaders.
and the Witch
Zombie
one.
Island is incredible. Those are all great. If you need any more Scooby-Doo movies to watch,
and they're like all on HBO Max now.
Really?
Like everything Scooby-Doo ever.
Scooby-Doo HBO does?
Well, I think that's WB, and pretty much everything WB is on HBO.
Interesting.
Well, I guess while we're on the subject, there was a recent animated series called Mystery Incorporated, and it was absolutely fantastic. So
really? I remember hearing
loved
about
it. I absolutely loved it. It was the best Scooby-Doo I've ever seen.
Man, Scooby-Doo these days is just a complete hit or miss.
I don't think
I've ever absolute garbage.
I don't think I've ever disliked
it's like,
any Scooby-Doo I've ever seen.
Watch
but I've only ever seen the good ones.
Watch Scoob.
I'm not watching Scoob.
That movie felt like 8 hours, and it was so...
Wait,
Scoob
did
is
you
the
say
only
that
movie
Mystery Incorporated was new, Zach?
It was
No,
a few years back.
it's not new anymore, but that came out.
2010. A long time
2010?
ago.
I only
did it?
watched it a couple years ago for the
Okay.
first time.
Okay. Cool. I'll have to watch
Scoob,
that.
I think, is still the only movie that I had to put down and come back to.
Why'd you come back to it?
What?
Why'd you come back to it?
I
and
had to
put
see it to
down?
the end,
Oh my god.
just to be able to talk about it with people.
Yeah. On this show, we talked about it. We only talk about video game movies, and rarely the only other movies we talked about is Scoob.
It was
But yeah.
just that bad.
Remember
Mystery
why?
Begins was good.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
did
the
we talk
story
about
was
Scoob?
nonsensical.
Yeah, they were
Simon
all just like
Cowell's
going to
in
this
it.
random stuff. Nothing mattered. Like,
Scooby is the descendant of Alexander the Great's dog. Which just
stuff
Feels
just
very
kind of
an
like
origin
happens too. Like they just
Yeah.
end up in different areas. Like, how did we get here? Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
It was a mess.
it was bad. There was those robot superhero characters that flew the spaceship that were terrible. I barely remember it. It was the worst movie.
It was bad.
But yeah, I was wondering if you'd seen The Mystery Begins.
Yeah, I believe I have
Because
seen
it was
the first one years
legit
ago.
good. It was I liked it more than the first live action Scooby Doo, which I don't like very much.
Is that the one where Scrappy pisses on Daphne?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty
That's-
bad.
But Monsters Unleashed is legitimately one of my favorite movies. I still love that movie.
I
Great
wanna say,
movie.
I just watched it when I was drinking with my sister and some of our friends and stuff, because we just get together and watch Scooby-Doo movies or stuff like that. I'll have to go
Yeah.
back and watch it again, because I don't remember
Which one?
anything about it. The that live action movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I still need to see the second one. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
have to watch it sometime.
But that's it.
Thanks
that's
for the
my
tangent.
You're welcome. I had to push us over the hour mark.
Almost got there.
Oh no, we need something else.
I don't want to talk about
Run
Scoob any
Scoob.
longer. Zach, you should see it so you can feel the pain of watching
Yeah.
the movie.
I don't think I will.
That's terrible.
It's
If
it's
I
an
watch it and I
experience.
like it, that's the worst case scenario.
I think you'd have to be off this podcast if you actually
Yeah.
like that movie. I don't think I can talk to you anymore. What a time. Yeah, that is a throwback. I forgot that we talked about Scoob on this show
Yep.
and that we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Well, I
Do
think
it again in a year.
yeah, what's going to happen then? Are they going to announce Scoob 2? Oh god.
Oh no.
I hope not.
Why has there ever been something called Scooby Dooby 2?
I don't think so.
No,
Come
there
on.
hasn't.
How did that not
Oh my
happen?
god.
I didn't even
Jeez.
think of it before now. And now you
That's
brought it
gotta
up.
be a thing.
I'll write that down.
Bring it to the executives and they're just like, "Oh my god." Got a green light that.
Genius.
Hire this man.
I mean, look, if they greenlit Scoob, just about anything is a go over there.
That movie looked so promising, and then it was so disappointing. Hey, is anyone gonna watch the new SpongeBob movie?
No, the one
Sponge
that's already
on the
out.
Run?
No,
Yeah, it's on.
Because
It's on
what? It's-
streaming services.
it's just an advertisement for Camp Coral, right? Which I
Oh, is
really
it?
hate,
How so?
and that a good portion of the movie is flashbacks to Camp Coral.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
The one with Keanu Reeves is the tumbleweed.
it's the most recent one, I believe. That's
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah,
did not know. that
because
had-
they're
the
why are we
previews
talking
had
about
nothing
TV
to do with
shows? Yeah.
that.
No, it's just half of it is an advertisement for Camp Coral, and I think the existence of Camp Coral, and now the Patrick Star Show is quite gross. So
Yeah, when you do spin-offs of the dumb character, the dumb character is only funny in moderation.
well,
When they're the main character, it wears off pretty quick.
one, there's that. Two, it was also pretty scummy to wait until the creator Steven Hillenburg died and then brought them out because he never wanted the stuff. Anyways, I have not seen it. Did you see it?
No,
Okay, well,
just
yeah.
wondering. Just trying to push us over the hour mark.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's particularly good.
Because I saw the preview in theaters 2 years ago before the pandemic, and I was like, probably see that.
Yeah.
Sponge out of water was horrible. I saw that in theaters, but it was
Yeah,
it
I
was
saw
fun
that.
to go see.
Not great.
It's funny because that whole thing advertised it as CGI, but then it was only the CGI for like the last 10 minutes. Which was
Hey, I
really
appreciate it. I'd rather see it in the
Yeah.
regular animation.
So yeah, and then the pandemic happened and it got delayed for like a year, but then they just chucked it on HBO
There it
or
is.
Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it's all Paramount. Yeah, so many streaming services, I can't keep up. It's way too many.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna be it. No final thought. The final thought was talking about Scoob and
Camp
live
Coral.
action Scooby-Doo movies and Camp Coral for 8 minutes. All right.
Nice.
Man, feels like an entirely different episode. We were talking about Animal Crossing a while ago, and now we're talking about this. What's going on? All right. It's going to do it for us on this week's episode of Ode to Games. We're here on Thursdays or Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any other podcast streaming services that you may use. OdeGames.com also has the audio version of the podcast. Video version is on YouTube at Ode to Games, so you can check out the video version there. It goes up around the same time as the audio version does. You can find us on Twitter at Ode to Games. You can send an email to odegamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.